Okay. Welcome to Fresh Music Flavor. I go by Alicia, aka Shashisha. Tonight we have an amazing gospel artist in the house. I will let him introduce himself. Who do we have in the house tonight?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Carl Beckles. Carl Beckles is in the house tonight.
Hey, Carls, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
That's not a problem at all. So, here in Fresh Music Flavor, what we like to do is we like to start it off with like a little CV, a little bio. So, can
hmm
you give me a little CV or a little bio about Carl? Who is Carl? Where is Carl from? Give me a little CV or a little bio about
Oh,
yourself.
wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back about 100 years. No, about half of that. Not saying too much.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I think it started from my household. My dad used to think he was a jazz singer, doing all the jazz sort of singing in the house. No, my dad was able to sing. And then later on, my brother formed a band called Central Line, which had hits in the 80s, hits in the USA. And I gave my life to the Lord in the 90s. And I've always had this thing about music. I've always had this thing, not so much about singing. I didn't really see myself as a singer per se, but I used to like to sing. I used to like buying the records and reading the lyrics and learning
Yeah.
the songs. And then once I gave my life to the Lord during the praise and worship sessions, I used to be heard apparently by the other vocalists, and people keep saying, "No, you can sing. You've got a powerful voice. We can hear you." Like there's about 200 people. The assembly is quite small. It's about 200 people, and people said they can actually hear me singing.
Oh
So
wow.
from there, I became part of the praise and worship. Well, back then it was choir, did choir leads, and also in terms of I did a few songs that I wrote for some plays that we had at our church, and just from there, I just had a series of people say, "Carl, you need to record. You really need to record your voice. You really need to record." I went through a period where five
Mhm.
people that said to me, "Carl, you need to record. You need to record." I think they all died in the space of about 5 years,
Oh
like all
wow.
different ages. And that really, one of them was my brother, Linton Beckles. Another was another guy in his band, Lipson Francis. Another guy, Solomon Facey, who was the choir director of Visual Ministries. Another lady, Andrea Robinson, who passed from cancer about 4 years ago, probably. I can't remember who the
Wow.
fifth person is, but that started going through my head, and I realized, you know what, Carl, you better get recording
Video
because,
calls in, yeah.
yeah, because you just don't know yourself the day or the hour. And when God
That's
gives
it.
you a gift, it's not for you, it's for others. So from there, um, and even rolling back about 20 years ago, early 2000s, I did some recordings as a featured artist. Sony and Arista even liked what I did, and they were happy to sign. Well, were happy to sign, but they thought my music sounded a little bit too urban, and they wanted
Okay.
to popify it, and it wasn't a representative of my lyrics and who I am as an individual. And my manager at the time ended up reaching to two meetings late. So they didn't think she was serious, but she was 5 months pregnant and she didn't know anyway.
Oh wow.
So rolling on 15 to 20 years later, I decided, you know what? I had writer's block and I just started writing. I so happened to meet Green, Ian Copeland Green, on the last day I ever saw my brother, which was really strange because it was like a transition amongst meeting other producers. We eventually met up probably about 18 months later, and I started working with him. I started working with another guy before, Paul Watson. And then from there, I started recording. So I'm about 25, 30 tracks later now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's happening. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm recording until such time.
Until okay. Well, I just want to touch up on something that you just said earlier, right?
Mm,
You said you gave your life to Christ in the 90s, if I'm correct.
that's right, 1992.
Yeah. Right. Can you just tell me why did you give your life to Christ? Because we do get people coming in here and they say to us, you know what, Shishisha, only reason why I decided to sing is because so and so happened in my life and I
Right,
realized that, you know what,
right.
I have to give my life to Christ. Obviously, you've touched up on quite a bit of things there where you've said, you know, you've had 5 people, you know, who have gone just like that, and it made you realize, you know
Mm,
what, you
hmm,
need to get down into recording, you
mm,
know, until
mm,
God says it's your time. But I
mm.
want to know what actually said to you, do you know what, I need to give my life to Christ. Like, I really want to know what your testimony behind that is.
Sure. I had first and foremost, I had no intentions of becoming a Christian. I
Hmm.
always said I wanted to visit a clapham church, as I used to, as we used to call it back in the day. You used to see the white vans and used to sort of, where
Yeah,
people being
yeah.
picked up to go to church. I said, I wonder what happens. I've got family members who are born again, but they never said anything to me. I don't want them to feel condemned if they hear this either. But I think it happened through my brother and the same mate of his, Lipson. Lipson bought a comic for his son, thinking it was a comic about Noah's Ark for his son. His son was about 4 or 5 at the time. I think it was his son Aaron. Not realizing that it wasn't a children's comic, but it was actually a chick publication, which was like a docu comic talking about Noah's Ark being found.
Hmm.
And then that really intrigued my brother, and my brother and him said, with a few others, about 5 others, about 7 of us met up. My brother asked, what you doing on Friday night? I said, I'm not doing anything. I met up, and then I'd realized, well, wow, this was so good. I think we must have left talking probably whatever hours, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on this topic. Then we met up another Friday, and then we were now watching a Barry Smith interview, probably touching on Noah's Ark and end times. So about Mark
Yeah.
of the Beast and 666. So I thought, well, I've always believed in the existence of Jesus Christ as a man or son of God. So I thought, well, if the beginning is true, which is Noah's Ark being found in Genesis and is still at Mount Ararat now as we speak,
Hmm. Hmm.
and Jesus exists in the middle, and then started learning about the 666 and the Mark of the Beast and reading barcodes and I mean, how much of that is going to be revealed over time, we will find out. But I
Hmm.
kind of realized, wait a minute, we are living in the last days. So
Yeah.
I realized the Bible isn't just a religious book. There's actually some truth
Hmm.
in it. And next thing I knew, weeks were going in, 7 of us ended up becoming 14 of us.
Oh, wow.
And then one by one, people said they felt the presence of God. And next thing, people were feeling, the Holy Spirit being filled. And so it started becoming supernatural. And I realized, oh my gosh, this thing's real. Even though out of the group, I was kind of like the last one to kind of commit, because I was trying to see all the things I can do before I give my life to Christ, all the things I shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing. Like, let me just enjoy the world. But then it got to a point where I knew I was kidding myself.
Hmm.
And the fear of God just hit me, and I gave my life, and I've not really looked back since. It's been hard.
Oh,
It's
wow.
been very
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah.
but I've not looked back since, and I've got no desire to not serve God.
Oh, wow. So we would say Carl it became natural. That's it. It was just
It was a
natural.
natural transition.
It
It
was a
wasn't planned.
natural transition.
It was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
natural transition, and my whole
Yeah.
family got saved. Immediate family got saved
Oh,
within the six
nice.
months period. So there's about 13 of us at the time,
Hmm.
one by one. All the ones,
Oh,
no,
wow.
no, not interested. I don't want to hear. Next minute, they're like, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Right. Can you talk to me a little bit about the struggles that you have faced in the gospel industry? What sort of struggles have you faced in the gospel industry?
That is a very good question. I guess I've released one album last year.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm relatively new in the gospel industry. I released the album on
Yeah.
the 3rd of November, 2021, and I've released about 5 or 6 singles. Um, I think it's probably with the industry. I think there's people that I know in the industry, in the gospel industry, as well as people even in the secular industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's probably quite a lonely game in the sense of you have to really. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
self-managed at the moment, so I've had to kind of navigate and find my way through. So I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate what FMF is doing, and all the other platforms and Premiere has done to
Mm-hmm.
support my work. I think the struggle is that I think if artists actually came together more,
Yeah.
which I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I think if people helped people more, um, you know, and get
It would be
people,
easier.
yeah, it'd be a
Yeah.
lot easier. So I'm kind of recreating the wheel
Mm-hmm.
myself, but it's
Mm-hmm.
probably where I haven't networked into people. And there's other people that I know that I need to meet as well and engage with that have been along the way. But there has been some people that have been extremely helpful along the way as well, you know. So I'll
No, I
give,
mean I do appreciate what you're saying because we do get, artists coming in and saying, you know what, Shishisha, the gospel industry itself in the UK, we are finding it a bit hard
mm,
because we are not united, if I can say,
no,
if I can
no,
use.
no,
I mean, everyone's just, even I think it was last week or the week before that I interviewed someone as well, and it was the same thing where they
yeah,
felt like, we are not united enough in order for the gospel industry, to get there. Because it seems like everyone is for themselves, like you just said,
yeah,
it's like a
yeah, yeah.
lonely thing.
And I was being polite.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
no,
being
I get
polite.
that. No, I get that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we are getting that quite a lot.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is why we've come through. So we're like, you know
Mm,
what, we need to try, and help,
mm,
new
mm,
artists, old
yeah,
artists. We need to try and get something together for everyone. But I do appreciate
really
you being
appreciate that.
honest.
Yeah, yeah.
And also in terms of your music,
Mm.
who do you cater for? Do you cater strictly for gospel or do you cater for the wider range? Because we do get artists saying, you know what, Shishisha, I cater for the wider range because my music is not just to touch religious people, it's to touch, the wider range. So
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued to find out what does your music cater for?
Right. To be honest, something I always said as part, I'm a Bible teacher. Something I've
Mm-hmm.
always said, what is the gospel? The gospel is a message to who? To the world. So
Yes.
therefore, my primary goal in preaching the gospel, if you're going to use the
Mm-hmm.
definition gospel, is ministering a message to the world. So primarily in terms of music production, it's very R&B based, it's very soul music based, it's very 80s based.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
probably people, I don't know, 30s to late 50s, or well 60s is like that, 40s and 50s now, isn't it? But it's probably quite a wide range. I mean, people have fed back and say, oh my gosh, the album caters to everyone. It's like you've got 80s, you've got a bit of dance music, but yet there's still a cohesion with all the different
Mm-hmm.
representation, predominantly of black styles of music. But I
Yeah.
believe the gospel is a message, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
genre. So I know I'll get
Yeah.
stoned by a lot of people to saying that, but it's a message, it's not a genre. Secondarily, it's a genre, but it's not a style of like,
But getting
yeah.
into that as well,
Mm,
I've got to drop it in there because I need to know what
yeah.
is your genre. Because you've
Mm,
answered this saying, you know what, is your music doesn't just cater for anyone, it caters for the different years or the different generation.
yeah.
Now, in terms of the genre, what genre is your music?
Right. Well, I think I kind of part answered that, but there was a bit that I didn't
Yeah,
answer.
that's
Some of my
correct.
songs, I've got a song called Be Born Again. That's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
to the church because the
No.
church is already born again. So it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
song to the world. I've got songs talking about fight of faith. So it's a song to the body of Christ to
Mm-hmm.
encourage us that we need to contend and fight You know, I've got a song
Yeah.
which some people will say, you know, it's a very 80s soul song, but it's a praise song because I'm saying, God, you're always on my mind. So I don't necessarily believe that praise and worship has to be slow or it has to sound like Hillsong. If it doesn't sound like Hillsong, I love Hillsongs, some Hillsongs music and elevation music. I like some of that. I don't have any music like that as yet, but I don't have a problem doing music like that. But I'm just saying we can get very narrow-minded that praise and worship has to be anything under 80 BPM. I'm not even sure if that's fast or slow, but it's got to be at a certain pace. It's got to have like a rocky sound. If it doesn't, then it's not. Because in the Bible days, you know, I'm sure the music didn't sound anything like what we know is music today. So yeah, most of my lyrics cater for the world as well as encouraging the body, and my music is more 80s R&B. The first album is more 80s R&B, soul, a bit of dance, a little bit of Be Born Again has got that sort of now sort of typical little praise and worship sound. And then even the music that I'm working on now, I've taken it back to childhood. So I'm doing more of like a 70s influence.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, so with some 70s elements, I need to kind of, you know, I want more of a 70s sound still, even more so than the tracks I've recorded since. Bless you. No, you're welcome. Don't worry about that.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, so in terms of genre,
yeah, so it's a mixture of everything.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of where I've even got a bit of reggae influences. I even forgot that. My album's very much a representation of who I am musically from the 80s.
Okay.
But I'm a 70s child, so I need to kind of take it back.
But
it's still 2020s in terms of the sound and the production. So it's good when some of the younger folk, and that's anyone sort of my age group and younger, some of the young folk in their 20s or early 30s have said to me that, wow, although the music reminds of what my mum and dad used to listen to back in the day, but you've kind of taken some of that good quality music that we really appreciate and you've made it now. So yeah, it's a mixture, and I think there's so many different aspects of black, if I can say, black music that I haven't even touched that I would love to do. You know, I've even got a little bit some trappy elements in some of my tracks as well. You know, so there's multi-genre of black music.
Let's say so. We'll probably say that it's a multi-genre because you do touch up on different, different genres, which is great. Now I want to know, because obviously you said your album came out last year, right?
That's right. Yeah, Light in a Dark Place.
How do you feel it has been? I mean, concerning the album, how do you feel that your album has been so far? Because obviously it was just released last year. Do you feel that it has reached a certain a certain category or a certain area? How do you feel your album is doing as you coming out as a new gospel artist?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm an independent artist, so I'm not signed. So anything that's happened, I've done the marketing. I have got a marketing background, educational degree wise. So I've done, and I guess since I've had my degree, the digital marketing side of things, I don't feel that I've exhausted my promotional side. I've got quite a few. In fact, I'm behind on the promotion. I've got people chasing me. When are we going to do this interview? When you coming on the show? I haven't even started doing, no, it's not true. I've done a few live performances, but I haven't even started to put in a series of like a tour, like an initial tour. So there's a lot of promotional side. I think recording the music is one thing. That's probably the easiest bit, but it's the promotion and all the after stuff that takes. But what's been really great, I mean, my immediate onion, if you like, the core of the onion, friends, family, the feedback has been phenomenal. The feedback has been very similar. People have said the album's very consistent. It's very multi-genre, but yet it's still like consistent how the songs kind of flow into each other.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest blessing is individuals that do not know Carl Beckles at all, and they've come back and said, oh, I've listened to your music on whatever social media, and it really encouraged me. It helped me, this song helped me in the lockdown. Another person said to me, another song helped their mum after having a stroke, really encouraged her. So it's getting that feedback, and that means a lot to me, more so than, oh my gosh, you sang or you tore it up. But the fact that it's actually doing. But I want to hear people say, I heard Be Born Again, for example, and I decided to give my life to Christ. That would be the ultimate for me.
I mean,
so there's a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot more singles to come out. And videos.
It's good. Oh, okay. So we've got more singles, more videos coming out.
There's more. Yeah, there's a lot more. It's just start. There's 20 tracks on the album.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot. Yeah. I was making up for lost time and years, if you like. Catching up. Everything that was stolen, I decided I'm going to catch up.
Yeah. Definitely. And keep going, of course.
Going to keep going. I'm going.
You know what? Let's just switch it up a little bit, okay? Now, I want to know, before we get into your music, I want to know who inspired Carl to do what he's good at. If you can give me top gospel artists, top 3 gospel artists that has inspired you at the top of your head, that has inspired you to do what you're good at. That's 3 gospel artists.
3 gospel artists.
Top of your head.
Okay, Isaiah Raymond and Co. Isaiah same age as me, etc. Loreen K.O.
Okay.
Definitely. And I would say Ian Copeland Green as well, my producer. Okay. Yeah, because I only planned to do 1 track or 2 tracks, and I kind of got addicted. So so he's stuck with me now.
Oh, wow.
I would say those 3. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. Now I want to know the top 3 gospel song that you listen to 24/7. It could be yours or it could be anyone's, but top 3 gospel songs that you listen to 24/7 and you say, do you know what? I've got to play that song because I'm feeling some type of way. This song's going to get me going. Top 3 songs, gospel songs.
Oh no, this is really bad. There's one song that Group Virtue did. I think it's called, oh gosh, it's not Thank You. I'd like to look it up, but there's one particular song that they do.
We can't
It's called Thank You. I know. Oh gosh, I can see the cover. Another song. Gosh, there's so many artists.
That you listen to, you sit there and you say to yourself, I'm playing that song.
There's a song that Reverend Milton Brunson and the Thompson Community Choir did called He's Faithful.
He's Faithful.
Yeah, that's an amazing song as well. And Fred Hammond, Holy Holy. I think he done that on the, do you know that song? He done it on the Inner Courts album. Fred Hammond in the Inner Courts album. It was the one with the orange cover. Wow. One of the songs at the end. It's a beautiful worship song.
Right. Yeah. So now we've discovered, your top 3 gospel artists and also, top 3 songs that has inspired you.
There's more. Now, I think it was 3 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Loads,
you know what? Yeah, there's loads. We have to admit that there is loads. But I want to talk to you about your latest track. Talk to me a little bit about your latest track. Angels Cry Holy. Tell me about that. Why the name? I was actually looking at the song and I was like, why the name? And then obviously having to see the picture itself of an angel. Is that you as well? I was so...
I kind of wish it was, actually.
Tell me.
Yeah. Actually, I wish it was me. No, it was a photograph that I purchased. And I did the graphics design around it. It's just it's pretty plain picture, but I kind of jazzed it up a bit. So I'm graphics designer as well.
It looks amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Right. Actually, that song, The Angels Cry Holy was actually a worship song that I wrote about 20 years ago. In terms of The Angels Cry Holy, that bit, I don't even know if Ian knows that. That bit was taken from ages ago, but it came back to me in the lockdown period with, as far as I'm concerned, there's no pandemic. It's a pandemic. Yes, I'm on radio and I've said it. It's all planned. And it's like with all the wickedness, you know, that rich people have. No, I'm not saying rich people are wicked, by the way. I'm saying with all the wickedness that's happening in the world, the people that's behind all of this mess, they're still not satisfied. So it just goes to prove that money doesn't really satisfy you. Yes, it's a good facilitator to acquire things, but it doesn't make you happy. And anything that is sin, the more you try to have of that sin is the more hungry. You never get satisfied from it. So really, the song is about the wickedness that's happening with what's happened with COVID. At least all of us must have know at least one person that's probably passed away, people that have suffered. And it's almost like what I'm saying is carry on with all your wickedness, because at the end of the day, every knee is going to bow, every tongue is going to confess, everyone is going to cry, holy, holy to Jesus. But what I'm saying is the angels are looking down and they're still worshiping God. Despite what's happening on the earth, the angels are still worshiping God. So we need to still continue worshiping God despite the wickedness that's happening around us. And we are not supposed to slow down as a result of what's happening in the world, because the Bible's already prophesied things such as this, and there's worse to come. Are we going to bow down, you know, to the trumpet of the enemy, you know? So that's what the song's really about.
I recognize that each time under pressure, I fall into that trap again. Repeated cycles, yet another cycle. It's deja vu all over again. Why didn't I learn from the consequences? Feeling like the failure. I feel your spirit yearning deep within my soul, willing me to carry on.
And we're back. Wow, Carl, that was amazing. You know what?
Appreciate it.
I get the feeling the song is truly written in the pandemic, because you can feel it, you know, listening to the lyrics. You can actually feel it. And this is something that amazes me, because a lot of people have said, you know what, during the pandemic, they did struggle, there's this and that. But when you listen to this track, you say to yourself, do you know what? There is a tomorrow, you know? There is definitely a tomorrow. So it is an amazing track. I mean, guys, you've heard it. I want to know what you guys think about the song below. Like, you have to comment and let us know what you think about the song. But you know what, Carl? It's been amazing having you in the house. Now, I want to know, what do we have coming in the next 3 months, 4 months, a year? What do we expect from Carl?
Right, well, there's a backlog of music videos, and I say a backlog. The music side's been going, but the videos are kind of like 6 months, 9 months behind the single releases, which is at one point was really frustrating me. Oh gosh, the videographer can probably hear me. That's tough. Oh, but then at the same time, I've the whole idea of going on camera totally freaks me out anyway. But it's kind of working out, because some people will hear the music, but then there's probably a different market again that's seeing the musical experience. So although I've released a couple videos, one is like 2 years behind the single, another one about a year behind the single, but people thinking, oh, I like your new song. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was released 2 years ago, or that was released a year ago. So it's kind of like a re-release, but a visual re-release. So I'm expecting to record over the next 3 months, probably about at least 3 music videos. I'm even considering doing a film of a series of videos. So like a story, and have the videos within the actual story.
Okay.
I've also got a single coming out this summer called Quandary World, which I'm looking really forward to because it's definitely one of my favorite songs on the album.
Oh, wow.
And
Look out for that.
yeah, I'm also looking with a DJ to do an album launch, which should have happened in November. Unfortunately, they came down with COVID, and it was really touch and go for them at one point. A whole leap of us was praying, you know. I was thinking, oh my gosh, is it too late to do a launch? But then there's a lot of people that probably haven't heard of Carl Beckles. A lot of people probably haven't heard of Light in the Dark Place, Missing Out. So I'm looking to do a YouTube launch as well. And really, I've got a list of things that I'm planning. So I really want to start planning some tours as well. And yeah, on a small scale to start with, obviously, and just let it organically, you know, grow from there.
That's it. Guys, you have heard Carl's got plenty of things coming up for us. You
Most
know,
definitely.
mini tours, launches, videos coming out. So guys, watch out. Watch the space, like they like to say. Watch the space for
Watch
Carl.
this space.
Now, Carl, where can our listeners catch you? If they wanted to get in touch with you, if they wanted to listen to your music, where can they find you or find your music?
Right, they can find me on Instagram at Carl Beckles. That's Carl with a C, so at CarlBeckles. Same handle on Twitter. I'm also on TikTok as well. I think my handle is exactly the same, but then again, I don't know if TikTok has yes, it does. That's how terrible I am at social media. So I really need to brush up on that. I get told off by people, you're supposed to be on every day, and I'm like, yeah. But you can get hold of me on there. I'm also on Facebook as well. Well, Facebook is more kind of locked down though. And you can find my music on all the top distributors. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, Pandora, Deezer, you name it, it's there. Oh, and how can I forget? carlbeckles.com. Yeah, go to my website and it's got everything on there. So everything's in one place, all my social media, my handles, everything. So carlbeckles.com.
Wow. Right, Carl, it's been a pleasure having you in the house.
It's been a pleasure being
Fresh Music have got to know a lot about you, a lot about how you started, where you're going, what you've got planned for us. So it has been amazing to have you in the house. We would love to have you back in the house again.
I would love to be
back.
Because I'm there thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't say that bit, and I didn't say that bit. I've got so much more to say. I didn't say it. But yeah.
No, but feel free. Anytime you want to come through, you know, just come to us. Or if there's anything that you want us to touch up on, feel free to join us again. Yeah, it's been really a pleasure having you in the house.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
No worries. We'll see you soon.
See you soon and have a good evening.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Fresh music flavor, the new sound of gospel.